Well, I did say yesterday I'm back. So, after being woken up by Andrew Holloway, and I don't mean he snuck into my bedroom and kissed me and gave me a cuddle to wake me up gently. I mean the fact that he sent me messages, got me all excited, not like that. Sorry, about reenacting and doing things that I had to get up nice and early at about 11 o'clock, which anybody who knows me is exceedingly early. Um, I like my sleep. I like my late nights. I like to wake up at dinner time. However, I digress along a conversation I had with him, and it was just about general sort of reenacting stuff. And like I said, you know what? I should do a video on the founding of the group and all the weird things that brought about that we had to learn, from booking into shows to insurance to the just how a group sort of starts, at least how our group started and why we started. And I thought, you know what, I've not got anything to do today. I don't want to do any more review videos, although I might later on this evening when I've had a drink. It brings out the worst in me, I mean the best in me. So Misdrop was founded when I was recruiting people for another group who I was a member of at that time, but we weren't really compatible with what we wanted to what the other group wanted to do. So we decided we'd do our own thing, and we set up a group. Which brings me back to that joke that I told the other day on Facebook. Three reenactors go to the bar tent. Three reenactors go to the beer tent. One goes to the bar, and the other two set up a new group. Now it's kind of a long-standing joke in reenacting that the first chance you get to set up a new group, you go and do so. But we set up a group at that time unnamed, and we said, what do we want it to be? We were all kitting up for 502 100 fairs anyway, so we stayed along those lines. But we sort of suggested, well, how not? Why not have a group that can encompass all the units which are in Normandy at that time? After all, there's pictures of the 101st with members of the 4th Infantry. There's 82nd and 101st mixed up together. So why don't we have all of those units that are in there at the first week? Anybody who wants to join and do gliders, 82nd, 4th Infantry, 1st Infantry, anything in that area, will have a group that encompasses all of that. And somebody suggested the title of, a title around the names of misdrop, as in a misdrop. So any of those units could come along with us. Great. So that's how the sort of name came around. It then got rebranded as misdrop, as in, it's there, isn't it? Her standing in the corner. Misdrop could be easily branded. It was quite recognisable. It was quite a catchy name, which it's easy. It rolls off the tongue. It can be shortened to MD44. It just worked for us. But more about her later. I did have a cartoon version of something very similar initially, which you may have seen kicking around on leaflets and old things. It might be old videos. I don't know. It was on the website for a while, but I think that's been deleted and got rid of since then. We wanted a group where there was no bullshit politics, because so many groups that you have this hierarchy of you will do what I say when I say you'll do it. None of us wanted that sort of shit. So although I sort of am the voice, literally the voice of the group, I steer us towards what I think should be done. If anybody disagrees, they're more than welcome to, and they can they can't do that. They will have as much input into the group as I want. We have no real leadership, although me and now Sam sort of stepped away, Rob stepped in. We steer the group and we keep us on a safe path. As I say, everybody is as valuable as the next person. We don't want that hierarchy leadership nonsense. It's bad for a group. It just pisses people off. It's, as far as we're concerned, unneeded. We wanted a group where we look after everybody. Those in the group, those outside the group, those that want information, whether they're in the hobby, new to the hobby, looking to join the hobby, been in the hobby for years. If they ask us questions, we want to be able to help everybody. So we have that that ethos that, you know, any information is not ours, it's to be shared with everybody. Whether they take that on board or not, whether we're wrong, whether we're right, you know, it's all, I would say it's all useful, because wrong information is not useful, but you get what I mean. We want to be a positive thing for the hobby. And hence why we're always looking to make things, you know, because it's quite easy, and everything we make is, we try and keep the price down as low as possible. Yes, we make money from it, but that normally goes into making more random things, because obviously we have to buy 50 or 100 or 200 of whatever we make. So that sort of offsets that. And one day, you know, I'll become a multi-millionaire from it. Right. I did write down a whole lot of notes, so excuse me while I stare at my crotch while I'm reading this. We wanted to build bridges with many different groups, whether they be 82nd, whether they be 1st Infantry, whether they be engineers, whatever they are. We want to build these groups, because you go to most shows and you pitched amongst how many other groups, but nobody talks to each other. It's like you have that massive invisible wall between both you and the other groups, and nobody's allowed to talk to each other. And it's really weird, because we're all in the same hobby, we all have that same passion, but you don't talk to each other, and I find that really, really sad. So why not invite other guys from other units to come along with you? We've got our training ground, and I've always said, if any other group wants to use that, crack on. Say you want to use it for a weekend. If you're doing German, if you're doing Roman, I don't care what you want to use it for. Use it. Just tell me you're going to be there. Not a problem. It's in Stansted. You can contact me through the website. It's there. It's there to be used for all of us. If a German group wants to do some pictures with us, fantastic. Let us know. We'll sort it out. If an 82nd group or any airborne, any non-airborne unit want to do something at the same time and have a training weekend, great. We've got about 15 acres. We can have a lot of people here with vehicles if you want. It's there to be used. After I did the recruiting with these other guys who we sort of broke away with, loads and loads of messages went backwards and forwards for ages and ages. It all went on for a whole lot, but we became a very close-knit bunch of guys that founded MD44, and we all met in September 2020. And as soon as everybody turned up, it was almost surreal. It's like we'd been friends since school. We just had that sort of bond, and I can't really explain how amazing that was. But there was no weird, awkward silences. We just talked shit and got on with things. It was really nice. However, looking back at some of the pictures now, we really did look like a complete shower of shit, and we did not know our arse from our elbow. Now, although I hate video montages of pictures where they just flick through them and play awful music to it, I have got a whole lot of pictures that we can sort of skim through. Now, I've only got one from that first weekend. There are other pictures, but they are literally so bad. I think they were taken with a potato. That, you know, they just show all the awful things that we point out in videos now, from cartridge belts to, you know, just awful, no helmet nets, no scrim, wrong markings. And we learnt very, very quickly, because, you know, we wanted to be better. But I picked this picture because it shows from day one we were literally sleeping in the dirt, and that's Sam, our ex-captain, or I think he was a sergeant then, and that is a fox. He just, you know, we laid down and we went to sleep. There was a fire in that, and we all sort of almost cuddled around it. Oh, how sweet. Moving on from that first meet, we set all the sort of standards we wanted. How to get to them was a whole different problem. The website was started. We stayed non-public for quite a while, except for the Facebook group. Around August 2020, Daz joined for a while, Daz Bond, and he did steer us along the right path. He introduced us to the books by Michel Detrez, and he did say, you know, if you're going to do this properly, do it, and this is the path you should take. And we'll always be very thankful for that. So I'm trying to read my scribble. If you could see this, it looks like I wrote this with my elbow. So we set out the sort of standards of what was the minimum requirements for kit, what was the best if you want to splash out. And it's around that sort of time that the idea for a book was first bandied around of, why are there no books for reenactors living history? Wouldn't it be great if there was a book you could go, right, that's good, that's not good, that's good because of this, that's bad because of this. You also need to consider A, B, C, D. And then when you've got those, what do you do with them? So, and again, it's another thing for the hobby. And I'm not trying to force the book or ram it down your throat. I'm simply saying, this is out there. If you want other books for your groups, let's make them. You can sell the damn things. I don't want to be involved. All you need to do is provide me with information, and we'll take a lot of pictures of your guys in your group or your girls in your group, whoever. Well, I'm happy to photograph girls all day long. And let's get more things for the hobby. And again, my copy is always kept to hand because I'm always changing it. For those who haven't seen it, this is going to be tricky to do. Oh well, some of my original notes are still stuffed in the back. You won't be able to see much, but these things at a circle which says don't do this. There's TOE information, rank information, individual peculiarities on ranks, things, dog tags, rations, wash kits, munitions, grenades, knives, bayonets, rifles, the Denixes, rigger pouches, tape, entrenching tools, Carlisle tins, suspenders, raincoats, boots, jumpers. All different patches. Gap, Mike, I can't praise Gap enough for their patches. They're fantastic. We're currently waiting on another order from them. I don't even know how many orders we put in from them, but they are absolutely fantastic. Cap placements, helmet insignias, Dylon for dyeing things, where to get things welded onto helmets, kit lists. It is full of everything you need to put together a good, solid 101st impression. Now, why can't we have those books for everything? Why not? Because, people say, go buy history books. They're great, they are fascinating. But again, there's only a certain amount of use you get from them. Anyway, I digress ranting about books. I do love books. I'm thousands of things. Yes, I'm drinking tea out of a canteen cup. You get about half a gallon in there, so it's quite useful when recording a video. In 2020, we sort of exploded into the world, and I recapped on some of our stuff yesterday. Actually, sorry, these were from our second meet. So again, you can see we've got some of that awful bottle green colour. A lot of and the canvas sling, again, incorrect. But again, we learnt as we went along. We didn't know that canvas slings were wrong. Why would we know? There's a picture of one that gets posted around every now and again. But unit identifiers are starting to appear. Everything's CC2'd. Pistol belts, rigger pouches, albeit empty. Gap patches. It's coming along in leaps and bounds. Harry and his blank firing bazooka that covers people in talcum powder, but it smells nice because he gets scented talcum powder. And again, it's all starting to come together. We like to do amusing things where I write a batch of letters from. This was to a guy in the group called Trippy, or Callum McFall is actually his real name, but he gets called Trippy because I'm useless with names, and I knew his name was something to do with falling over. So I wrote a series of letters to him from his dad, from his mum, from an imaginary girlfriend, his brother. I hand wrote the ones from his dad, and apparently the handwriting matches. My wife and daughter wrote the ones from his imaginary girlfriend and his mum, and I typed up the ones from his brother. And it portrays a whole lot of imaginary story from, I think, about February sort of time to late May. So he's literally just been handed a whole stack of letters. I did a mail call. Everybody was sent to me individually. I presented them with their mail, whether I had written it or I'd spoke to their wives, girlfriends, mothers, aunts, uncles, and I said, look, write me some letters to whoever it was, and I'll hand them out at the next meet, but don't tell them about it. It'll be a nice surprise when we're sat in the field, and if it pisses down and rain, they'll have something positive to do. So we did the mail call, handed it on. Everybody was utterly confused. Max, obviously being particularly loved by his family, sent him a huge box that was, about the size of about 4 shoeboxes, stacked on top of each other. The thing was massive. It contained cakes and cans of food and decks of cards and candles. The whole thing was round full. It was ridiculous. He could have spent another month in that field, I think. But it's just a nice little thing to do every now and again, just weird stuff like that. It just adds that extra level of fun. And one of the things the other groups say when we were with them, they said, you guys seem to have so much fun when you're together and doing shows. And we do. We look at some of the groups and they just sort of sat around or stood around and they look, it's nice to be out, but they look almost, not miserable, but stagnant. There's no excitement, there's no fun there. And we do have a lot of fun as the group. Even our training sessions where we meet up here. When George first came, he went home and it was his first real event. It was his first event with us, and he got home and his dad said, "So how'd you get on?" He said, "Yeah, it was really good. We went in the field, we set up a camp, then we went indoors and played some pool in the barn, and later on we got in the hot tub." And it's like, what kind of reenacting living history is this? It absolutely hammered down with rain, so much that it pretty much went straight through the Zelt bund that we hadn't waterproof because we didn't know we were supposed to. I know, stupid, right? So we set up camp in the barn, in the stables, where we've slept in there before, so it's pretty much laid out as a sort of temporary barracks. And we were a bit wet and cold, so we had a few games of pool. I thought, you know what, the easiest way to warm up is just to get in the hot tub. So we did. We all sat in the hot tub, had a few beers. And it's great that we have that to hand when we're at home. Slightly weird, but it is what it is. We get on and just do strange things when we need to. As I started to say, 2020 was we exploded into the reenacting world. The website was getting lots of hits. At some point around January, February, I sort of started doing these ridiculous videos. Leaflets went out with every single thing I sell or give away or mail. So the name was pushed out there to the world. And even when we turned up for our first show at Overlord, somebody said, "Oh, you're Misdrop, I've heard of you." And we all sort of scratched our heads and went, "What? How the hell has anybody heard of us?" Because obviously it was our first show. January saw us do the photo shoot for the book, and it was fucking freezing. I mean, it was ridiculously cold. So we slept in the stables then because there was no way we were going to sleep outside in that. It was so cold. The photos were absolutely amazing. We had a professional photographer come along for that one. Incredible pictures, they really were. Despite some of the usual negative comments you get on Facebook, because it's a nice toxic place. One of them that made me laugh was there were not enough leaves in the trees for it to be Normandy. Okay, it's sort of valid, but for fuck's sake, what do you want me to do? Start photoshopping leaves on trees? Like, that is not the objective. The objective is to have photographs of kit and people looking the part. I don't care about leaves. Leaves are not important in my eyes. But, Facebook's Facebook. Now, also for this photo shoot, we wanted to get pictures of Misdrop, who you saw at the start of the video, and in fact is on the jumper. So I spoke to a friend of mine, and you can imagine how this conversation went, because we wanted pictures in a helmet, a 42 jacket, and really stockings, suspenders, and a nice bra. So can you imagine how that conversation went? Just run that through in your head, how you'd ask somebody that, because I'm sure it's pretty much along the same lines that I had to. Luckily, our Misdrop had done modelling work before, so it wasn't a complete shock for me to ask something like this. It was still rather odd. And weirdly, she was actually about as excited as I was. Actually, maybe excited is not the word. Enthusiastic. Let's go with enthusiastic as I was. But yeah, remember I said it was cold? Yeah, I was wearing, woolen trousers, wool shirt, M42s, great coat, gloves, Jeep cap, helmet. Now, our Misdrop was in an M42 jacket, helmet, stockings and suspenders and a bra. How she didn't catch pneumonia is beyond us. I can't even describe how cold that was. Yeah, bitterly cold. However, some of the photos were good. Oh, sorry, that was from the last one. That was, I don't know what Max is giggling. Obviously, Callum's reading something from the letters that I wrote. One of the amusing things from those letters. Now, Harry, who is famous for varnishing his M42s and not using decking oil in the group, I wrote to his mum, his grandparents, and his mum sent a couple of letters to me. And when he came to Melco, I handed them to him. He trotted off to the field. He was one of the first, so he sat there reading them. And when I explained to Callum that I'd written the letters from his dad, he was amazed that the handwriting was just so similar. Harry pipes up, "Oh, so you wrote these?" "No, I didn't write your letters. Your mum wrote those." He was a bit sort of taken back. I went, my mum wrote them?" "Yeah, Harry, your mum wrote those letters." And then you sort of see the cogs turning. "Wait, so you've been talking to my mum?" Of course, then there's just an opportunity to go, "Harry, I talk to your mum all the time." "What?" Because many years ago, when he was probably about 12, 13, 14, he came relic hunting with a few of us, and his mum dropped him off. She sat in the car, waited for him to finish, hours and hours later, and then they left. So I said, "Yeah, I've been talking to your mum since she used to come relic hunting with us." "What?" He got home and literally interrogated her, which of course she went, "No, what are you talking about?" He then finished that conversation with, "If he ever messages you again, you have to tell me." Needless to say, one day I'm just going to message her just for fun, just to see if it gets back to him. Bless him. Poor Harry. April time, we did our last training session, meet here before we went to the public show. And it was just to hash out what we needed to do, what we needed to get done, what we needed to change, anybody that was doing something wrong with kit, impressions, hair, whatever it would be. We then went down, okay, we need insurance. Okay, what do we do? Somebody said AFRA, which most of us scratched our heads and went, who or what? AFRA, if you don't know them, Allied Forces Reenactment Association. You're effectively joining a group, and with that you are under their insurance. You have to do a risk assessment for any shows you're going to. You send it to them. It's done for the group, and then you are covered insurance wise. I think it's around 15 quid a year, and when you renew every year you get a discount. It runs from January to December, so don't sign up in September. You'll get a couple of shows at most. So you want to get a full year out of it at least. Unless, of course, you just happen to join a group at that time of the year and you need it, in which case you're sort of stuck. Dead easy, definitely worth doing. Then we hit the... Oh, wait a minute, the photos are lagging behind, sorry. I keep forgetting to click the mouse as I waffle on like I do. So this was one of them from that photo shoot in January. Again, not enough leaves on the trees, but they are nice, clear photographs, although the guys in the foreground are supposed to be a bit blurred out. As we're all just sat around chatting, ignore Harry's white tape on his rifle. It was literally falling to pieces and we couldn't find any black, so white tape was put there. But there is white tape around bazookas in some of the original pictures, so although it's weird, it's not the end of the world. You could imagine that he has a cricket or something stupid taped to the back of it, but he doesn't. But if you really want me to justify, I could come up with some bollocks like that. He's got his last round in case he gets captured and needs to kill himself. Just something stupid like that. It's sort of shit we'd hear other reenactors coming up with. There's Muggins, you doing what I do best, sit there drinking. But yeah, they were, and again the Zelt Barnes. Sorry, Daniel Pickles Hayward. Zeltgate, Zelt agenda is still on the cards in these days, I'm afraid. Again, nice clear picture of Tom, assistant light machine gunner. He's got a British made bag, GP bag, Fisher Price Denix carbine, but everything looks rough and it's been used. From the gloves are filthy to it's dirty. It's a good impression. Lots of playing in the dirt. Everybody moaned after this. They were absolutely filthy. There was dirt on all the kit. There was dirt on uniforms. All the boots were literally squidgy from all the mud they were standing in, because this is actually a trench. But yeah, nice clear in the front and a nice blurry in the back. Yeah, good solid pictures. As you can see from the boots here, they were absolutely covered. Oh, I would say the boots here. I'm in the way. Can I move me? Only if I put the mouse over here. Just shove me in that corner. Yeah, I mean it was extremely muddy, but I say it was worth it for the pictures. I'm not sure if the guys agree with that one. Nice British made Carlisle pouch there, because you know the Fibre 2 did seem to weirdly have a lot of British made kit. Harvey sneaking in a Jeep cap because yes, as I said, it was cold, damn cold. You notice all the bottle green scrim has now disappeared that was in the pictures earlier. Brassard's screwed up, ripped up, not worn. Taped down pockets have been ripped open. Just little details like that just sort of make it really. So this is that last meet I said about in April. There was a few pictures for the book. In fact, I didn't even think I was going to use that picture. I was going to use a different one where you could actually see George's face. Sorry, George, I cut your face out of a video. Poor George. He does become the brunt of most jokes anyway, so not having his face in it's probably not a bad thing. Yeah, we tidied up the sort of things we needed to do for the show season, and I don't know what the hell these idiots were laughing at. I think this is Harry, so it's probably Harry they're giggling at. He's probably done something stupid. It's not uncommon. So sorting out insurances was all done via AFRA. Sam did all the bookings for the first show. He'd done a bit before, so he had some sort of knowledge on what space we needed, because literally we had no idea whatsoever. Come to the time of Capel show, luckily there was a digger on site, so we didn't have to dig the entire thing by hand. So I said we want a sort of T-shape. The digger driver got to work. Magic, we've got a T-shape. Here's the Zelt agenda coming into play. So we got a couple of Zelt pieces. I had one that flapped over that bit as well, so at night I was closed in. This was left open. I just had a raincoat over it's about my ankles downwards, and it did hammer down with rain. I was fine. Harry, again, not so much. It's always Harry. He got absolutely drowned and flooded out, and we woke up to no Harry, and he come plodding down the road afterwards. He just crawled to his car and slept in the back of that while he was soaked. So yeah, we had a very unhappy Harry that weekend. But you know, that was where I slept. As you know, amazed the public were. Unfortunately, you can see a little bit of my ground sheet. Obviously, period correct. I know. I need something on the ground. All the blankets just soak up all the moisture, and then you're miserable. It's not worth it for that. So there's the rest of sort of the line of display. Which way are we? I can't. So this is my tent here. Goes along. There's the T section. The 30 cal was poking out here. Harry was at that end, and he's literally just caved in on him. It was more. There was a lot of show and tell sort of with this one. Hence why there was so much stuff just piled up here, so we could just get into some interaction with the public. Walking around the show, we were just like, can we climb on this? Can we look in this? One of the guys with the Sherman said, yeah, just climb over it, just don't pull on the barrel. So I don't know what if the barrel falls off or if it was made of paper mache or what, but yeah, we took some nice pictures of us climbing on things. George just peeking out over the top, almost cut him out again. At Overlord, they said, are you going to Capel in a couple of weeks? And we went, what the hell is a Capel? Didn't have a clue what the show was. Fantastic show. We got booked in, a few of us went, and we sort of were moving away from the Zelt barns now. As I said in the other video, a lot of this will cover the same thing. Hacked one in half, and two halves actually produced a ginormous stretch of display, really. George dug himself a coffin, and was called Private Ghoul for most of the weekend, when he wasn't called Private Idiot, the name which is sort of stuck, because he does make some stupid comments at times, bless him. Because we spotted those pictures, I think they were taken from Time magazine, after the Battle of Carentan. There's a 101st Artillery Unit, and they just use these everywhere. They are tied to trees, they are propped up, they are over pup tents. It's just like a sea of parachutes, and QMI sell them, so there we go. We will keep on buying those. We now own, well, 3, but 2 and 2 halves, really. That is the inside of my hull. Not a sentence I plan to repeat very often. Very cosy, very warm. These things are fairly waterproof. We've had a couple of bouts of rain in it, and so far it hasn't come through. So as long as you pitch them properly with a nice slope, so rain's not going to pool and pocket anywhere, you should be fine using one of these. There you go. It gives you some sort of idea of the space that it covers, and there was a lot of overlap here as well. Of course, we only had a couple, so Rob set up a shelter using a piece of canvas, some poles, pup tent poles, and Tom did something very similar, and that is the end of my picture montage. I didn't include any pictures on this video of the victory show because at the moment they're everywhere. You've probably seen them all on the, what's it called? Misdrop 44 Facebook group. If you haven't, oh well, never mind. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was AFRA, really. That's what sort of sparked this video to be done. As Andrew said, you know, would we be up for a couple of guys from his group coming along and joining us for some shows if they're free, or coming to training sessions? Like and it's one thing we've always said. We love to build bridges with other guys, groups, individual reenactors, pairs, trios, quadruplets. If that's a word, I'm sure it's something like that. If they want to come along and spend the weekend here, because our training field is just out that window at the bottom of my garden. It's that far away. If they want to do it here, if they want to come to shows, great. We want to build bridges with all these other people, because why not? We're all in the hobby together. And it seems such a shame that groups almost refuse to talk to each other. It's like they want to claim the members as their own. You know, these are my members, you can't use these members for anything else. No, if my guys don't want to go to a summit with us and want to go to somewhere else, crack on. We've got Ben in the group, and we've met him at events, but he's been with other groups. Fine, we don't care. You know, I'd rather Ben be with us, you know, so we can have a laugh together. But if he wants to be with other groups and do things, that's fine. If, as I said to there's a new guy, Alex, joining us, and he said, I'm off to uni. I don't know if I can make all the events. I said, that's not a problem. He said, how many do I have to come to? I said, none. As far as we're concerned, if you can't come to any events, your loss. If you can come to all of them, you win. Somewhere in the middle, most people aim for. Yeah, we don't have any stupid rules like you have to come to this amount. I mean, the minimum kit requirements we have is basically uniform you can stand up in. Helmet, M42s, shirt, boots. If you can turn up dressed, you can join in. Everything else we can lend you. In fact, we can lend you the boots, the M42s, a shirt, and a helmet as well. So literally, if anyone wants to try the hobby, ping us a message. You can come along. It's that easy. As long as it's a training event here. If we're doing public stuff, then you will need to get your AFRA card. But again, 15 quid. 15 quid to try something for a weekend. If you never did it again, what could you do for 15 quid for an entire weekend? You can't even go to the cinema for 15 quid. Yeah. So it really is a win-win, and it's good that we've got so much kit now that we can equip. I think about seven people from scratch. And again, we will keep picking up odd bits and pieces as it comes along. We will get a whole load more of those parachutes from QMI. They're not cheap, but they really do make the display. So we will buy a whole load of those. The guy must think I'm insane. I mean, why would anybody keep buying them? Yeah, unless you're us, of course. So what next? The only other thing we have on the cards is a walking, talking thing at the Royal Engineers Museum, and that's in late November. It's a day-to-day thing, so we'll be up there on I think it's the Saturday, walk round, come home, go back on the Sunday, walk round, because there is no camping because it is an active military base. So, but it's something very different, and I was like, yeah, because it's so different, I'm quite intrigued to see how that works. I think that is all we've got for the year, unless we decide to come and meet here some point, which we can just do because we can. other than that, it's then starting planning for the shows next year, which Rob and I are going to be doing the booking for. So that'll be fun. Oh God, let's hope I don't mess anything up. If anybody does want ever to come to any of our shows, the events we're attending, sorry, there is an events page on the website. Have a look. If you want to come, you will need to have insurance via AFRA or any other method of insurance, because there are more than just AFRA. You will need to tell us before we book the show. We will need your proof of insurance, like your AFRA number and your full name, so we can book you in. If we don't get that, obviously, you might not be able to come. We may be able to wangle it, but I can't promise. So if you do think you want to attend something, let us know as soon as possible. I don't think the shows are on the website for next year yet. I will start doing that soon-ish, because I've got a million and one things to do as well as keep making these daft videos that for some reason you keep watching. It's almost a challenge to how many videos I can make and how many people watch them now. I think I made 4 yesterday and one of them's got like 80 views. Why? You literally must have nothing better to do in life. Anything else I need to cover before I sign off? As the usual excuse is signing off, I'm hungry. I am hungry, I haven't eaten yet. No, not that I can think of. So I sign off there. I hope that was some exceedingly dull information about why MD44 exists, why we have a half-naked woman as our mascot. Well, obviously the obvious reasons is, because blokes are pretty simple and they see a pretty girl wearing not a lot, and I want to join that group. Also, it looks amazing on the spine of the book when they're all on the shelf, because they all go on there on a massive row or on my stock shelf. So there's just millions and millions of little misdrops all in a little line. But yeah, no, she's a lovely girl. A lot of time for her. I won't use her real name. Otherwise you all start stalking her. Right, I'm going to sign off. Oh, something just ping, light bulb. While I was at Odyssey, I was talking to the guy, Dave. Hold on, let's name check him. Where's my wallet? 4,000 visits. Dave Allen from Skirmish Magazine. In fact, that needs to come out. I sent an article to them a long time ago, months and months and months and months. Lots of emails went back and forth between me and him about asking for more information, more pictures, etc. All about the group. And off they all went. Said, looks great. We love big articles. We will put it in a magazine and we'll let you know. No, I didn't hear anything. I just thought, okay, they're just not going to run it. That's fine. He came along to the Shack Rats display while I was there. And he was talking about the 50 cows and that sort of stuff. I said, that's funny, I sent a thing to you. And he went, I remember that. That's either in this month's or next month's issue of Skirmish. Oh, awesome. Went and found his trade stall later on in the day. It wasn't in the current month's. So we could be in the next month's Skirmish magazine. So if anybody happens to see it, please let me know. I want a copy. I'm sure... Well, hopefully Dave will also let me know. I can't even remember what it says because it was so long ago. I think it was just after the photo shoot. So that's quite a while away. I don't think it was... It certainly wasn't before Capel or after Capel. Yeah, it's quite a while now. Anyway, I guess so we will be in the Skirmish at some point. And I can't remember what it says. It could be a whole lot of waffle. I don't even think the book didn't even exist then, because I think I mentioned we are doing it, or it's about to be done. Yeah, anyway, I'm off. I will catch you all later.